I'm Dr. Kim Boycott. I'm a neurogeneticist at the Children's Hospital of Eastern Ontario. And we began a project in April of this year to bring Canada together in a nationwide effort to identify genes for rare disorders that affect Canadians. So we have plans to study about 175 rare pediatric disorders, and to date we have identified 22 genes that explains that number of disorders, and we have the remainder of the disorders being analyzed now and over the next year. It will be complete in another 9 months, actually. Yeah, it's a very short-term project. We are using a genomics approach called next-generation sequencing, and how that works is that we have a sample from an affected individual, and we can sequence all of their coding genome, so all the genes at one time for about $1,000, and that gives us an opportunity to look genome-wide for changes that might be causing their disease. So this is a genomics technology that's been around for a couple of years, but is now being applied in a very high throughput manner to rare diseases in Canada. So if we were to do a genetic test for a family that came to clinic to see me, usually if it's something that we don't test for in Canada, which is quite often the case, it will cost anywhere from 1,000 to 5,000 euros to do the test, but I can do for $1,000 their entire genome. So you can see the cost benefit there, as well as the diagnostic utility or potential in this technology. So for families like the O'Connors, if we didn't understand the disorder that they had, say 5 years ago, we would have nothing else we could do for them. There'd be no way that we could look at the coding genome of their boys and determine what the differences were. But now, since this technology has become available, we can do that. We can look for the differences and then identify which genes are behaving differently and why they're causing the symptoms. For families who come to clinic where we don't understand what's happening to the children in terms of why they're sick, we could then apply this technology as the first-line test instead of years of invasive investigations and no answers. So it'll increase efficiency of the diagnosis, and then this will sort of seed the developmental biology that will be studied in Canada over the years to come, as well as then looking at how can we treat these disorders.
We have 3 children. We have a daughter who's 18, a son TJ at 16, and another one Casey at 13. The 2 boys presented with symptoms, regressive, difficulty walking, that kind of thing, about 4 years ago. And it was over a period of 4 years with testing, all kinds of medical tests that we really just couldn't come up with an answer to what the problem was. The whole time they continued to degenerate. One now in a wheelchair most of the time. So significant issues, not just mild. So with the research study, we were able to have our DNA tested and come up with essentially a final result. The next step, of course, will be to move on and find a solution. But at least we have a starting point.
Just kind of looks a little